Good evening. It's me again. I'm here to show you how to create a falling leaves loop. Now, there's like an hour and a half till the prayer, till my fasting is done and I have to eat, so I need something to waste my time on. So the effect we're gonna you focus on is this effect that's currently playing on the screen. Now, how are we going to create that? It's very simple, but we're not going to focus on that just finite looking animation. We are going to make it a looping animation, loops infinitely. And I'll show you how. First of all, delete everything. Plot a cube. Again, I don't know why I deleted that cube. Grab on the Z by 1 meter, set origin to the 3D cursor, pull this up. Go to geometry node editor. Now this cube is going to be the domain in which we loop these leaves, make them fall and all that stuff. So what we're going to do is following. We are going to first of all these leaves to be need to be following in like in a three-dimensional space and all that to be set randomly, position random positions and stuff. So in order to do that, we need the distribute points in volume, but before that we need to go to mesh to volume and all that stuff. Good. Now we are going to go to point, distribute points in volume, pump this up a lot. We need this to be a lot at the moment. Now we are going to make sure that this is following the... Actually, we're gonna need to do that later. First of all, I'm gonna show you how to make them loop. We're going to geometry, set position, and go to input position, pull this in over here, over to there, and we are going to vector, math, add, move it on the Z, and as you can see, it's moving up and down, all that stuff. Now we can shift the do the same stuff here, as you can see here. It's Ramadan, I can't curse. I hate Ramadan. It's useless. Just an excuse for everyone to be lazy for an entire month. I hate it. Anyway, now we can make them move up and down all that stuff, but we're not we can't loop them just by using this. We need something to make them put limits on their movement. If they move to a certain position, like 2 meters down, after they go 2 meters down, they are reset to some arbitrary position that we set. So what we need to use is this vector math function that's called wrap. Now, if I set this, now as you remember, our cube was 2 meters. It was a default cube, 2 meters by 2 meters. The Z position starts from here and here, all the way over to there, and the X position starts from there, here, and Y from here to there, and all that stuff. Now, how can we make sure there's moving along in the cube that we made? It's easy, frankly. We need first of all to go to join geometry, pull this cube over to here, and go to mesh to curve, all that stuff. Now, the values, I already learned those values on my own, so I'm gonna write the minimum of the x and y -1, and then on the maximum +1. And on the z, I'm gonna type in 2. Now, when I move it like this, they're going to be reset to their previous positions, as you can see here. Now, how are we supposed to make them loop? Now, first of all, you need to pay attention to the maximum and minimum values and see the distance between them was going to be. So on the Z and the X and the Y, they're all like 2 meters, 2 units. So what I'm going to do is hash frame. Remember that hash frame over 250, since the frame count for the scene is 250 by default, means that it's going to start from 0 and at the end of the scene it's going to be set at 1. So I'm going to divide it by 125. And like that, let me pull out the timeline. Now they are supposed to be moving uh, by 2 meters at the entire scene time, just like this. So when I set this to the beginning, it's like this, and I set this at the end, it's the same. It's relatively the same as you can see here, just like that, which means that it is looping. When I set this back over here, now you see it's looping. Now let me decrease this. Now, first of all, I need to show you something that's very imperative for all of you to learn first before doing anything. You see this voxel amount? I hate it. I'll show you why I hate it. I'm going over here and to the 60 FPS. Set this to 60 FPS, and you guys see that I have a very solid PC, and this isn't 60 FPS. Why is this happening? The answer to that is very simple. It's because of the voxel amount. I don't know who the hell made this trash, but anyway, if you set it to something high like 128, there's gonna be issues, as you can see here. So we don't want that. We want to set back to 64, and while following these guidelines we've set here, these cube guidelines, we're going to decrease the amount. First of all, I need to show you why we need to follow this, because as you can see, it starts to get deformed and stuff. It goes out of the boundaries on some of the axes and all that stuff. So we need to set it to the lowest possible amount, voxel amount, without breaking the rules, let's say. So like this, something like 7.3. Yeah, last time it was 7.226, something like that. Yeah, but this is okay, I must say. Now let's check if they still loop. Sure they're not looping because I had this muted. They still loop. Yeah, I'm gonna increase this a bit, decrease it a bit. Yeah, wait, let me play this. As you can see, the performance also went way up. Now we're having 70 frames per second. Now let me go back to 24 frames per second. As you can see, this is looping, and we have performance too. Now, let's get rid of these guidelines we've set, and screw you, Blender. It's Ramadan, you can't cuss. I don't care. Piss off. Instances, instance on points. Now, the instances we're going to use are images as planes. Now, before we do anything, I should have shown you this at the beginning of the video, but it doesn't matter. Go here, go to your browser. I'm using this because I don't like any other browser. Go to, why am I giving you a guide on how to use your browser too? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Anyway, go to textures.com and go to photo textures. I hate textures.com because I have to pay in order to get to be treated properly like a human being. What a bunch of cheapskates. Anyway, search for textures. Now we're gonna write in autumn. I'll show you the textures I use. These are the textures I use. Now when I open one of these, I go here and find that they have multiple variants, as you can see here, which is why I need to pay in order to be treated like a human being while using this site or service, should I call it? Because they pull out lots of effort for this shit. I mean, stuff. It doesn't matter. Well, my fisting is now over. Now, my points are invisible because I don't have any instances. Now, what sort of instances do I want to put in these? It's the leaves, but how am I going to import them properly to be, in order for them to be treated like instances? First of all, I'm going to edit preferences, add-ons, and all of you must have guessed it by now. Images as planes. Here it is. You need to have this checked and all that stuff. Now I'm going to image. No, I'm going here to the 3D viewport. Go to image, images as planes. Go to wherever the hell you saved them and import images as planes. Now when I go to material preview, as you can see here, these leaves are the leaves I imported. As you can see. Now, this is looking really fine and all. Now, we need to use them for our stupid geometry nodes group. So how are we gonna do that? We're going to select all of them, press M, new collection, leaves. Okay. Go to the cube. Sorry for saying it's a stupid geometry nodes group, but I'm hungry. I'm really hungry. Like I can't think straight while I'm hungry. Anyway, first of all, we need to pull these collection over to here and check these separate children and go to geometry, separate components. Now, I'm not sure if this step is very necessary, but I don't care. I always like to do it because I don't know what kind of fucky. I don't know what kind of weird stuff Blender likes to throw out in my way. Now, as you can see here, here are instances. When I decrease the density a lot, we can see them more clearly. That they are all at the same point, at the same time, and all that stuff. Now I don't want that, so let me set this back to 20, which is I think it's the original value I used. And select this, check on this, check this one. Now they all just separate instances and all that stuff. Now let me set the scale to something like zero point 0.1. Is zero point 0.1 a bit too small? Let me get rid of these, hide them from the viewport and from the render too. Now this is looking good. Now they are not falling like these are supposed to. So I'm going to make this 125 a minus 125, and now they are falling, as you can see here. Now, first of all, I need some sort of like displacement. Now this displacement, I'm not going to introduce it into these instances after they've been instantiated. I want to introduce it right after I set this position. So I'm going to set position. This is the way I did it. I don't know what anyway, I'm not sure about it, but just follow along, please. First of all, I'm gonna do noise texture and all that stuff. I'm going to vector math, minus zero point 0.5 or I said add and go to scale. Now you might say that after introducing that noise texture that they are no longer looping, but no, look, they are still looping as you can see here. They are still looping, but they look not like these, they look like flies and all that stuff. Now these are looking more like these. You can bump up the scale to make them travel a bit further in the texture and all that stuff. You can do something like this, but I don't want to do something like this. Do this. Now we have another problem. They're looking a bit flat because they're not rotating or anything like that. So what are we going to do? We need them to rotate randomly. So how we're going to do that is very simple. We're going to pull these out, set this to 1 just for the sake of demonstration, and go to instances, rotate instances, and plug this in into here. Please, Blender, cooperate. Okay. Now, as you can all see, they're just not rotating by 360 degrees, even if I bump up the scale a lot. Now they're just having seizures. Our leaves are having seizures at the moment. That's not what we want. So let me bring this down to 1. So what's going on here? The noise texture value as a float, not radians, goes from 0 to 1. Now 360 degrees as floats are 6.28, which is pi multiplied by 2, or as I like to call it, tau. Tau, which is also pi multiplied by 2. So how are we going to fix this? How are we going to make these go from 0 to tau, which is 6.28? First of all, I'm going to use the scale math function and type in tau, and here we go. They're rotating by 360 degrees and all that stuff. Are you happy or not? If you want them to go a bit more crazy, you can do this. But I don't want that. I want it to stay at tau. This is looking good. These are some proper leaves, frankly, if you're asking me. Yeah. Now, now, what else do we need to do? There isn't much left. Like, if you wanted to be going along with the current a bit more, you can do that. Bump up the scale. Yeah, looking nice. The only thing that's left for us to do is just go here to our leaves. Since they were imported as planes, we can go to, can select all of them, have at least one of them as the active object, and then select the rest, and go tab, and go to edit mode. Now, first of all, I'm going to turn on proportional editing. Now, most of you sees what I'm going, can see what I'm going with this and all that stuff. But we are going to click Control R, and then Control R like this, Control R like that, Control R like this, Control R like that. I hate Ramadan. I really hate it. Like everyone's pissed because they're pasting. Like in the old days, no one gets pissed, but no, right these days, everyone's getting 2 hours less on their job, like all that stuff. Everyone's hungry. I'm hungry, boss. Go, let me go home, and all that stuff. Now, as you can see here, we're going to select all. We're going to select like how many of these? How many leaves? Two, three, four. I'm gonna select the first three, and I'm going to grab on the Z and do it like this. As you can see, while using the proportional editing, we can get this result, which is make it look a bit pointy, frankly. So let me just make this a bit, yeah, good. Now I'm going to have some of these like uh, go down. I don't know what's the difference, if there's going to be a difference or not, but I'm going to keep it like that. Yes, now this is looking fine. If you're asking me now, if we go back to our object, now they're looking more like leaves falling properly. Now there are some other issues we need to, why did I do that? We need to address, like how are the leaves looking really lame. They're very lame. These leaves are very lame. So we need to go to shader editor and select the leaves that we want. First of all, make sure that we're centered on them. Um, We are going to use the hue and saturation though to actually we're not going to use the hue saturation node the first. We first of all need to make sure that they are very rough and not shiny looking. Just like that. I don't think that autumn leaves are supposed to be shiny, like autumn leaves are supposed to be a bit dry because summer it's been summer this whole time, there's been no rain, all that stuff. So let's bump up the roughness. And if you don't like the color of those leaves, what you can do is use the hue and saturation node, just like this. Pull it out. As you can see, this is the leaf that's been affected by it. So we're going to pop up the hue like this in order to show what it does. If you send it down to something like point 47 like this, you're gonna see that this is now looking a bit more red, but it's looking really nice. And if you bump up the value and the saturation, it will look even more nice, as you can see here. Now this is what we're gonna do to the rest of these leaves. I'm gonna go to color, hue and saturation, and all that stuff. Make it what? Which one of these is being affected? Actually, you know what? I don't want to set this anything like that. No, I meant one. Let me just bump up the saturation for this one. Let me go to the here. Go to color, use saturation. Which one of these am I affecting? It's the one that looks like the flag of Canada. I hate Canada. Let me make it a bit more red. But as you can see, there's this ugly thing that's going around. Like these veins are looking, what to call it? Yeah, they're looking purple and all wrong. Like someone added some shitty filter. It's Ramadan. I shouldn't be saying that sort of words. Someone added a not very good filter to this leaf. So how are we going to fix that? We can go to texture, noise texture, all over again, and plug this into the factor of this baby. Now, in order to demonstrate what this does, I need to pull out a color ramp and set this to constant. Now, come on, you piece of very lovely chocolate. I do this, as you can see here. Now we can randomly affect this using this noise texture. You can do this to all of the leaves, no, as much as you like. Like if there's a, where did it go? Hello? Where are you? Where did you go? What? What did I do? Wasn't there one right over here? Okay, here's one. Okay, it's back. Thank God. I was so worried. Now, as you can see here, the noise texture can help you a lot, and if you increase the scale a bit, you can have some parts of the leaf being red and other parts being the normal color and all that stuff, which is really nice. But you need to pay attention to this view and set value and saturation thing over here. So if you want to manipulate these as much as you like without affecting the certain points, just only certain points, you can go and plug this Hue Saturation thing all the way back here and that stuff. Now this is looking like a proper leaf, frankly. Looking really beautiful. Now I'm gonna keep it like this. I'm not gonna do anything else with it. This is really nice. Now, what you can do with all this, just anything, frankly. Just go crazy with it. This is looking really great. I'm very proud of this. Now, if you didn't like, now this is gonna be the closure. If you didn't like this video, please dislike this video and tell me down in the comment section why you didn't like it so I can just dismiss your opinion and delete your comment, and I'm going to do that. And if you do like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Okay? Alright? I'm gonna do it or not. I don't care. Now, this was a very crappy, crappy tutorial. Actually, I hope it's good, but I'm not feeling well. This this clock is just won't reach 58, won't reach 6:58. Just stuck at there. Now, I'll see you all in the next video. I'm so hungry right now. I hope you all have a happy blending. I wanna eat something. Oh God, this Ramadan sucks.